I was introduced a few minutes ago. I mean, you have seen that I had, for many years, I was very much engaged into the academia. I used to complain that the academia was not really with the feet on the ground. No, I used to feel very much close into this ivory tower. But I must admit now that I turned for the last 15 years, I have been basically a field worker in the most difficult places of conflicts in the world. I must admit that I complain now from the other side, that we are very much disconnected from all the discussions in academia. So I think it's always a great opportunity for me to participate in these forums, and always that my agenda allows, I like to be part of it. I'm saying this because during all these years as a practitioner, I have developed expertise on promotion of refugee participation. So these figures are on one hand dramatic, but on the other hand, I think are full of hope. And I think this is the message that I would like to pass today. I mean, behind these 25.4 million of refugees, we have 25 million of people ready to contribute to peace-building processes. And this is what I would like to focus the rest of my intervention. Being an expert on refugee participation, if I may say, is a very simple type of expertise. I mean, basically, my role consists to discuss with governments, with national governments, with regional governments, with municipality governments, about the importance to listen to refugees and to engage with refugees since the very, very beginning. This is what basically, I mean, I do inside UNHCR, and something that, I mean, I would like you to encourage to do on your future careers. I think that most of you will probably pursue an international career in different international organizations. Basically, I mean, to keep the accountability at the very center. So, I mean, I think that here, I would like to take the rest of the presentation. Okay, first finish with the figures. Just for you to know the snapshots, you may have heard these figures before. 85% of the world's displaced people are in developing countries, and 57% of the refugees worldwide are coming just from 3 countries, which are South Sudan, Afghanistan, and Syria. And the top refugee hosting countries, contrary to what we heard in the European media quite often, are Turkey, Uganda, Pakistan, Lebanon, and Iran. So, I mean, yes, we are happy to share this presentation, but, I mean, all this information is available. Now, I mean, I go back, sorry, I forgot about this slide. I go back to the issue of refugee participation and engagement. So I'm making reference here to this paper commissioned by our evaluation and policy unit to James Milner in 2011. This is a research paper, and in UNHCR we issue numbers, so it's the research paper 224, in case that you are interested. The title is Refugees and Peacebuilding Processes. This paper argued that engagement with refugee population in exile help to advance peace building in the country of origin, and how refugee engagement is a critical factor for sustaining a peace process. I mean, I think that Bernardo was making a lot of emphasis on the importance of sustainability of peace, no? Sustainability of peaceful coexistence. The paper, I mean, and I won't go into an exhaustive presentation on the paper, but just to give a bit highlights, I mean, and we're happy to share the link. Propose, I mean, 5 key areas in which refugees can contribute in the aftermath of a conflict to peace processes. And it's, I mean, very, very practical. I mean, the first one is in the support to safety and security. This includes, I mean, a whole set of measures on DDR, that is the acronym for disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of former combatants, engagement of the refugees themselves on reforms of the security sector, and the importance of the reform of the security sector in the aftermath of a conflict. The reinforce of the rule of law, the mine clearing programs, or it could include also other activities such as deployment of refugees as peacekeepers themselves. I think it was very interesting, the presentation made this morning by the colleague from an NGO that works in Iraq, no? And developing on the role that communities can play themselves. The second the second area of contribution, it refers to the support to the political processes itself. And here, we are referring on the planning and holding of elections, developing of conflict management mechanisms, promotion of inclusive dialogue, and broader processes of national reconciliation. When we talk of large-scale conflicts, this is particularly fundamental, because if you have crises where, like Syria today, where you have over 6 million people forcibly displaced, it's fundamental that when you plan for an elections, these people are properly engaged, that people are issued with documents, and that the elections take place in the conducive circumstances. The third set is the support to basic services, but very much related with the last ones, which is restoring government functions and economic rehabilitation. These three areas are referring to the importance to start working with refugees since the first day that they turn refugees, meaning since the first day that they cross an international border, to build their capacities to be able to go back to their country and to rebuild the country. Okay, so the first one, it refers to basic services. So basically, it makes a lot of reference and develops some very concrete examples. In the particular case of the Somali refugees in Kenya and Ethiopia, and the good practices of developing the skills of teachers and health personnel that currently went back to Somalia and were able to build the basic services and to provide basic services in their country of origin. The next one, it refers to the support to restoring core government functions. It develops on very concrete examples as well on the importance of the training refugees in exile to help and address these functions, leadership functions, upon the return. Today we have the privilege to have Mirbat with us, but like Mirbat, who is a refugee who got a scholarship in Italy, we have many other cases of refugees that got scholarships in Italy and that hopefully will be the leaders in the near future, when they are able to return to their country. So the importance to give these opportunities while in asylum to the refugees, to not just contribute to their country of asylum, but also to contribute in their country of origin. Important that this happens since the very first day. One of the issues that intends to be addressed with the renewed commitment in the Global Compact for Refugees is precisely this. It does a lot of emphasis on prevent the root causes and start preparing the return since the very first day. The average of a refugee in exile, the average time of a refugee in exile is 17 years. So that's a long time. So life do not stop. So importance to set up the conditions for people to be able to contribute as soon as possible, because people have a lot to contribute. The last set, because we could, I think it's a very dense paper and we could definitely have a very good dialogue about each one of these areas later on, is to support on the economic revitalization. Again, always in the same line. We have very well-known cases of refugees that were able to bring important economic means back to their country of origin after a few years in exile. An importance and responsibility to everyone, states, but not just states, also private sector, civil society, universities, media, and etc., to create conducive conditions for that. So I just wanted to make this reference to this paper and to pass this message to all of you as future leaders inside international organizations and in the academia as well, to do not forget to engage with refugees when you have this responsibility, because people do have a lot to contribute. And I would like to finalize the presentation sharing what has been our very concrete example in the case of Italy. I mean, Bernardo was making reference this morning that this conference intended to be, I mean, from Italy and for Italy, no? And that a lot can be done also in a context as Italy nowadays. So I would like to share with you in very practical terms what we have been doing as UNHCR to promote refugee participation. This would be kind of the snapshot of kind of what we, how we understand refugee participation. We use these levels of engagement with refugees. So it's basically 5 levels. The first level being informing, consulting, involving, collaborating, and empowerment. So what does it mean in practice? So I would like to be very, very concrete on this and to illustrate with specific examples in the Italian context. It was mentioned as well today. It was a very stimulating day for me. Sorry if I'm quoting everyone. But someone was mentioning that we live in the era of the fake news. And I must say that this is a huge challenge in our work in UNHCR. I mean, when I was in university, Facebook did not exist, you know, but now it does exist. And it goes very fast. And it's extremely difficult to combat rumors, you know, and particularly when these rumors, I mean, affect people's rights and can become, I mean, a huge snowball. So, I mean, for us, it has become a priority, not just because our accountability to the persons of our concerns, but also because it's a huge need. I mean, information needs have become massive. It's a very complex phenomenon to combat fake news and to combat rumors. So, I mean, we do have a strategic line to promote access to reliable information. So in the case of Italy, and as a very concrete example, we do have a partnership with ARCI. ARCI is a network in Italy that runs a national free toll number of information for refugees. So you can call free of charge for any point in Italy, where, by the way, I mean, dispersion of the population is a challenge, because, I mean, Italy is big and every region is very diverse to the other, and refugee and asylum seeker population are all over Italy. So, I mean, we thought that this was, I mean, a very smart approach to ensure, I mean, effective outreach to the population. So, I mean, people can call to this free toll number and access individual counseling in 32 languages. So people can access reliable information through this free toll number run by a local NGO that, I mean, for those of you that are Italian, I think that most of you may know ARCI, which is a well-known NGO in Italy. It's a network of NGOs, actually. We do work a lot with networks of NGOs. So, I mean, this is kind of a simple example of informing as a first step and ensuring that reliable information and quality counseling is available for people to make their own decisions, you know, and informed decisions. On the second level, consulting, what does it mean? We don't have a policy. I mean, we do have several policies that come from the 90s. The first policy that was issued was people-centered approach in 1990, and since then we have issued, I think by now is 11 different policies on this line on refugee engagement. This last one being from 2018, which is an updated age, gender, and diversity policy from last year that talks about our mandatory action to consult with refugees as UNHCR. So we do regularly conduct consultations with refugee population, basically focus group discussions or workshops, in which it's a very simple method. We ask about their opinion and their feedback. And we ask them a very simple question: what UNHCR should do in this context? Okay, and we do discuss about it. The last of these consultations was conducted, I think, like 3 weeks ago, to inform our planning as an office for next year, for 2020. And we do have a portal in which refugees and asylum seekers can register if they would like to participate in this dialogue here with us and to propose. So we have opened that channel in Italy. So it's an example of consulting. We move on a step further, involving. So what does it mean, involving? I mean, here mostly UNHCR had a very strong advocacy role, but advocacy not understood simply as issuing letters and reports to authorities. Advocacy understood as an engine for social change and key interventions for that. So on this regard, we have undertaken several activities, mostly related to workshops and training, in which refugees have taken, a main role. First as participants of trainings, but secondly also as facilitators of trainings. So, I could share with you many examples. Last year, I think one activity that had a great impact, we conducted a national workshop on protection of Lgbti refugees and asylum seekers, in which basically we brought together key institutional actors, including, Department of Equal Opportunities, UNAR, which UNAR is basically the Italian equity body, Ministry of Interior, OSCAT, which is the department of the police that safeguards everything related to discrimination in Italy, and other institutional counterparts, together with 10 local civil society organizations that work with LGBTI rights, plus a group of 12 LGBTI refugees. The energy on that today's workshop was great, because I think that, we are talking about peace building, and I think that the most powerful tool for peace building is, and it will always be, dialogue, and to manage to bring people together to simply discuss issues in a simple manner. So, I think it was a very good experience. I think that as UNHCR, we are called to play this catalytic role. Now, the Global Compact also, I think, is also pushing us to play more stronger this role, to bring in actors together and trying to move the protection agenda on that regard. So, this was just an example of the level of involvement. Collaborating, we move a step forward. I think that we suggested today, when we were approached by Bernardo on this conference, we said, okay, if we can share the panel with one refugee that can share her point of view as well. So we try to ensure that there is this collaboration with individuals, with groups of refugees, with organizations, and to ensure that we can collaborate with them and bring their voices to different forums. And the last one, and my favorite one, which is the empowering. We are not going to have time to share with you, a very good video that we have of a program that is working very well here in Italy, which I think that it fits very well with the concept of empowering. This program is called Partecipazione. It's it plays with the word participation and with the word action. It's like participaction. I don't know if it makes sense in English. In Italian sounds better, partecipazione. So we rolled out this program last year. We discussed, we knew that there were several refugee-led organizations in Italy. And we decided, we designed the program. But we were not expected to find what we found, which is an incredible amount of local initiatives that promote refugee participation. I mean, not just to promote, I mean, initiatives that are led by refugees themselves. Group of people that have brought together with a common goal. I mean, I was at university in the early 2000s, in the times that everybody was discussing about globalization, no? So there was this slogan to think local, think global, act local, you know? So I think this is a bit the spirit that is underpinning the Partecipazione program, because we are finding like such a incredible local stories. We made the first call last year in July. We received an overwhelming participation of 62 organizations in Italy. Refugee-led, mixed, Italy refugee-led, I mean, organizations that promote effective refugee participation. 10 organizations were selected last year, 2 in Emilia-Romagna, Work in Progress and Il Grande Colibri, both very much led by refugees themselves. I mean, Il Grande Colibri is an organization of Lgbti refugees. Work in Progress is a cooperative of culture mediators that are doing a peer-to-peer support. So, I mean, very interesting initiatives. We rolled out the program last year in Calabria, in Emilia-Romagna, in Piemonte, in Lazio, and I'm forgetting one place, and in Sicily. And this year we have expanded to 11 regions. I mean, I was last week in Naples, and everywhere we go, we keep finding, I mean, incredible stories of refugee participation. Just 2 words on how it works, the program, because I think it's important. It has been very carefully designed, taking into consideration our policies on accountability and participation. But basically, it has a package of 4 key actions aimed to reinforce the capacities of these emerging realities, emerging organizations, basically. The first one, I mean, is a training. So organizations selected participate in a training that consists in 5 modules. The second one is a financial support to implement and to practice implementation of specific activities. So to practice the entire program cycle of a project. The third one is a networking event. So basically, we try to bring all these organizations together and to know each other and to learn from each other. I mean, last year we had the event in Rome. I mean, this year we need to see where the event is going to take place. But I can just share with you that just from one day that we brought all these organizations together, so much synergy was raised from this, and very good initiatives. I mean, I was just informed today that another of the organizations that took part in Partecipazione last year got a very important funding this year. So I think this is very good to see that refugee organizations are already having that space, no? And that voice. And I mean, I think that I will be happy to share with you further information on that. I think that I have 1 more minute, which fits with this video that is 1 minute, of how we can help refugees, because I think there are also some testimonies that make reference to the peace building. This is a video with some testimonies of a group of refugees that were selected to participate in a global youth consultations. So give us some ideas.